How's it going, everybody? Welcome to OP Entertainment. I'm Omar Darwish.
And I'm Pratik Cherian.
And this is our review of Ballerina. We're going to go spoiler-free on the, or John Wick Universe Ballerina, whatever the title is.
From the world of John Wick, Ballerina.
Ballerina, a John Wick story.
From the world of John Wick, Ballerina.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the way all the marketing has been, so.
We're going to go spoiler-free on this. This was directed by Len Weissman.
Good job.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't look that up right before.
Definitely didn't look that up. I definitely wasn't going to say Chad Stahelski. You know what, Pratik? I'm a huge fan of the John Wick. I said spoiler-free, right? Yeah, spoiler-free completely. I'm a huge fan of the John Wick franchise. You are a middling...
Why don't you just tell us
you
what you thought of this movie?
fan of the John Wick franchise.
You love this movie. Go.
What I'm trying to say is I loved every John Wick movie. I love Ana de Armas. This movie was tailor-made for me, and it delivered. Does it have the best script in the world? No. Is the story, like, keeping you on the edge of your seat the whole time? It's not, but Ana de Armas is. The action is, and like first of all, I want a list of every location they went to and shot, and I just want a vacation there because this not like the most beautiful movie you've seen from like set to set.
Why are you doing this? Why are you setting me up for these kind of questions?
Pratik, what'd you think of this movie?
No, it's fine. It was fine. It's one where I am not as big a fan of the John Wick franchise as I would say the majority of people out there.
Okay.
But I'm also a firm believer in letting people enjoy things, and just because
not everybody loves the John Wick franchise, I think that's fair to say.
I don't know if that's fair to say. I feel like
you think everybody loves it.
I feel like it's fairly universally loved. I feel like I'm like
this is the franchise that you're the dark horse.
I think so. So this was a movie that, like, to me it falls right in line with it falls right in line with the other John Wick movies. To me, I think 1 and 4 are the best, and I think this slots in right below those two. So, like, to me, it's solid. If you like the John Wick franchise, you'll really enjoy this. It gives you all of the same things that you probably like about that franchise. It puts you back in this world, and I do think that the world of John Wick is the best part of it. And so I think that getting to explore that world from a different perspective, even though, again, it's not like you're diving deep into mythologies or anything, but I think it's just nice to like be back in that space.
You're not diving deep into mythologies, but I'll say this: I think they add a lot of like world building to the John Wick universe, and they do a lot with. I mean, just as a fan of the franchise, I've always wanted to see more. I love what they do in the John Wick movies, but I would have loved to see like a spinoff. And you know, these big franchises.
Did you watch that TV show?
I didn't.
Okay.
These big franchises don't always like do a great job with like the spinoffs, and this could have been a lot lesser. So maybe that's why like I'm just so high on it.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that they seem to take care of it, and they did a good job.
Yeah, again, I think anytime you do a spinoff and you come away from it being like, this falls right in line with...
It fits perfectly, yeah.
I think that's a win. That's absolutely a win.
It doesn't feel like they got a shittier cinematographer and they decided, like... It doesn't feel like a made-for-TV version. Maybe that's because I have the Continental show in my head, even though I didn't see it.
You know, the other thing I'll say is I thought they did a really good job of tailoring the fight choreography to Ana de Armas, who's a very different performer than Keanu Reeves. And so you feel that difference without feeling like a drop in quality, or that they're like hiding, or like they're having to like do any sort of like camera tricks to get away with it.
Yeah.
And again, that just speaks to the level of craft that they put in.
If nothing else, you got to give her the flowers, because Keanu Reeves is kind of one of a kind when it comes to these like movie star level of celebrity actors that also like take the fight choreography seriously in these action movies. And so to compare
movie star
yourself,
level of celebrity actor, I have no idea what that phrase means.
Nobody is at that height of like celebrity that also takes, other maybe in Tom Cruise, that also takes this like action choreography, fight choreography anyway, this seriously.
Okay.
And for Ana de Armas to like even try to be thrown into this kind of comparison, like I think she
hold her own.
Yeah, exactly.
And really hold her own.
Really holds her own. I really hope this does well so that we can get more of this. And like, yeah, how did you feel about John Wick in this movie?
I probably a good amount. I think it's the right amount. I don't think it's too much. It's not too little. I do feel like I wish it wasn't in the marketing quite so much that he's in this movie.
Yeah.
Because I think it would have. I think where he shows up for the narrative focus of the movie would have hit a lot harder if we didn't know he was in there. If we didn't know he was in there, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And especially because like I feel like for the most part, when they do these spinoffs, they don't give you like the big main character in these spinoffs. Like they usually don't lend themselves to like in other big franchises anyway. how did you feel about the cinematography in this? Because I already talked about how I thought this
I mean,
was like
it's
beautiful.
again, right in line with the rest of the John Wick stuff.
Do you
fine.
like
It's
that,
good.
or is that something you don't like with these John Wick movies? Like how it's all kind of neon lighting and like
No,
the contrast. Because I love that kind of stuff.
You love it, and I don't really like. To me,
It doesn't hit you either way?
It doesn't hit me either
Okay.
way. It's serviceable. It's not bad. Clearly, it's not bad.
I keep waiting for it to get old
yeah.
for me, and they just keep finding these color combinations that just like and these sets.
I will
that-
say it was really nice to actually see some fight scenes as opposed to I feel like there's been this fairly recent trend of like action movies cutting away from the actual fight.
Yeah, there's even I mean there's even a scene in this movie where the scene opens up and it's clearly after an action sequence has taken place. That is my biggest pet peeve with movies in general. But this movie, because you see her kicking ass like beginning or before this and after this a ton, it doesn't matter that much.
We've all watched John Wick. Like that's the whole franchise.
Right,
so.
right. But like I just feel like specifically this year there's been like I mean the last like 3 action movies we've reviewed, there's been at least 1 or 2 scenes where it opens up and it's a room full of guys on the ground already.
It's not even like
defeated.
opening up. It's like we like cut to
You just miss the action.
We get the
Like,
beginning of the fight and then like we cut away to the end of the fight and we
Yeah.
just like skip the middle. And yeah, it was nice to like actually watch a movie that didn't do that. So I appreciate that.
We mentioned just sticking with like the locations. There's something they do with like a village in this movie that I thought the whole concept of that was awesome. Adds to the world building, and we kind of talked about this off camera, but you felt like it lends kind of like a video game quality to the movie. I agree, but for me, I think that's got a high. For you, it's not. Is it a low, or is it just something that kind of detracts you from the franchise a little bit, or this kind of movie?
I feel like in general, one of my opinions of the franchise is it would be better as a video game I could play through as opposed to a movie that I'm sitting through.
There should be. I don't know if there is. There should be a John Wick video game franchise for sure.
Yeah, and that's again that's not necessarily a knock on the movie, but I think it does like detract from my personal enjoyment of it. Again, that's a little bit too much of like me putting myself into it. But yeah,
wish you could grab the controller and change the.
Yeah. I want to like grab the controller and be like, all right, stop doing this. Like we're doing this type of play style. But that's a me issue, and I recognize that. But yeah, to your point that the scenes in that village, I do think have a very like do have like a very video game-esque quality to them. The way that the action unfolds and kind of some of the ambiance to it, I'll say.
Okay. One other thing that I'm debating on talking about because it might be considered a spoiler, but probably not because I think it's in the trailer. There's use of like a flamethrower in this.
That's in the trailer. Yeah.
Okay. I felt like, okay, we're going to get sick of this very quickly, but it kind of was just awesome for me. Did you like it? Or?
I thought the flamethrower fight was probably the highlight of the film.
Okay, good.
I thought that was the best fight sequence, in my opinion.
I think some people might think it was a little tired and went on a little long, but I loved it. So I didn't know. I didn't know if that was just a me thing or okay.
No, I thought that was good.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome, and it gave her a good way of just avoiding punching and guns. A little different.
Yeah, something to break up the monotony.
Yeah, exactly. Are you ready to score this? Or?
Sure. Yeah.
10 out of 10, right?
Why don't you go first?
It's tough, like, because, okay, I didn't really talk about my big negative, which is, like, there's some script issues in this. There's some script highlights, but there's some script issues in this, for sure. It's not the best screenplay, and there's
this movie there's one line of dialogue that might be, like, the worst line delivery I've heard in a movie this year.
Can you say it without spoiling, or?
No, I'll tell you later.
Okay, I'm so curious.
I'll tell you later. It's definitely, like, an 80-yard in thing, but it was really bad.
I'm curious.
I'll tell you later. Okay. Go on. Keep going.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is the script isn't great. And there's a story choice that they do that you see coming 1,000 miles away, and they don't really do anything with it, and that kind of irritates me.
Yeah.
But
nobody's here for this franchise for the script.
Exactly.
Like nobody's here for any of that. So
yeah, and it works. It's fine. That being said, that's my only gripe. Like I said, this movie's like tailor made for me. I love every movie in the franchise. I love Ana de Armas, and this delivered in every level. So I'm not going to give it a 10 just because the script was a little weak, but I'm going to give it a 9. You're sure as hell right. I'm giving it a 9. Pratik, what did you think?
Again, the action delivers what you expect from the John Wick franchise. Like you also expect from this franchise, it's kind of a weak script. It's kind of a fairly obvious plotting and story. there's little to no character work to speak of, but that's not what we're here
Well-
for anyway. To me it's a 7. It's perfectly enjoyable. If you like John Wick, you'll really enjoy it. You'll be like an 8 or a 9, and if you don't, you'll be checking your phone.
Do you honestly think, though-
I will say before I forget, I do think that this movie is, out of the franchise, one of the better paced ones.
Yeah.
Probably could have been like 20 minutes shorter, but all in all, I was pleasantly surprised at how well paced and how much the action moved along.
Yeah. Well, considering the last John Wick movie's like 3 hours and this one's like 2 hours, I think that for me that's why it felt so paced so well. But yeah, I hear you. Do you think though this is like a good entry point to the franchise? Like if you haven't seen a John Wick movie?
I feel like if it didn't bring in John Wick, like I feel like them bringing him in, they do like expect you to have some sort of familiarity with the character. So I don't think so. But I think if this was your first entry and you enjoyed it, it's definitely one where like it would prompt you to like go watch the other ones.
Something that this does, that the first John Wick does, is it keeps the like mystique and like people are afraid of John Wick like vibe alive. And I think that I would definitely watch this, either this or the first one, before watching any of the other John Wicks for sure. Yeah,
Sure.
But all right, guys.
Yeah.
What do we got next week?
We got stuff. There's something coming out. We'll probably review it. Yeah.
For sure. See you guys.
Yeah.